Hi, I'm Ed Beer Jr., fantasy artist and airbrush muralist. This is a 1955 Chevy that I've worked on. The theme of it is moonshine and bootlegging. The idea was that the car was running through a distillery, exploding the copper still and collecting barrel, and all the things you'd expect to see in that vicinity, all across the front and all the way down the sides of this car. So I'm going to bring you a little close up and show you the copper still itself and the effect of the metal that we had to do with the airbrush work. The fine line work, everything you see in there is all done by brush. You've got the flame work, which runs from white, blues, purples, and red, oranges to yellows, typical of an alcohol flame. That's running all behind it. You have the copper tubes that would run from the still to the barrel that are flung every which way across the front of the hood. You've got the $20 bills from the time period in the 1950s, and that's all done by hand with brush work. I mean, I really did get down into the details. Not quite counterfeiting quality, but we're getting close, so I have to be careful. Or maybe I'll have an alternate job opportunity, who knows. So moving on over to the right, in the center of the vehicle, we have a pressure gauge, which of course is set to maximum pressure. You can see the crack in the glass, set of danger. That gives you the whole idea of that high pressure thing. Now, over to the right, we see the barrel on the driver's side, and this is a collecting barrel. It's made of a white oak kind of thing. You'll see all the different wood grain. Again, that is done with fine brushwork. More copper tubes, even wood pieces that have exploded through the back of the barrel and that are going down the sides of the fenders. More $20 bills. And by the way, those $20 bills, each one's unique. I've put different serial numbers on them, and including signing my own name and the owner of this car's name, Joe Mealy, to the Secretary of Treasury, just for the fun of it, after all. If I'm painting and making the $20 bills, I might as well be the Secretary of Treasury. As we come around this side, you're going to see some of the pieces of fragments of the XXX moonshine bottles. Over here you have the warning, deadly poison moonshine liquor, $250 reward. This is a very classic poster. This would typically be found somewhere nearby, you know, because the feds were always putting these signs every which way. Down below you see white lightning, $199 proof. Somehow, it typically runs between a $199 and $200 proof, and so we decided to make a tribute to that. Now we have the wanted posters. Now these are portraits of the actual family from the Ravenswood body shop in Florida here. These are friends of the owners, and so they are portraits of each of the actual people. So these are lifelike portraits done, and again, it's done airbrush and hand brush work. With the kind of the feel of the whole entire wanted poster having been burned, having been singed on the edges, and it gives you that whole concept of this is what would have happened if this car ran through and it was just flying down the side of the vehicle. I'm going to take you around to the other side and finish up. But before I do that, let me point your attention to the bumper, because if you're going through this still, a lot of the fluid would hit the bottom, it would roll up the bumper, and that's why you have the white flames going to the blues and the purples and whatnot. And that goes across this very unique double-tiered bumper. It was a special option package in 1955. On this side, another $20 bill and good old Andrew Jackson. Again, it's a portrait of Andrew about 1 1/4 high. And if you look down here, you'll see this bottle. This is any old bottle. Basically, if they're running moonshine, they're going to put it in any type of container they can find, but we do have some mystery liquid in there. This is a tribute to Junior Johnson and his Ford Deluxe. This is portrayed to look like a piece of the newspaper from the Wilkes County. Wilkes County, North Carolina was where Junior Johnson was from at this time, and this is the Wilkes Patriot, which was the newspaper of the time. So it says, Junior Johnson eludes police again. Again, hand airbrush and hand line work. Police claim Johnson is wanted for bootlegging and smuggling. The one thing I did do, because I spent almost 360 hours on this project, is put a little tribute to that. Artist Beard sets world record for most amount of time on auto mural, Guinness World Book of Records. So that was kind of fun. Doc and Mrs. Mealy's blend for medicinal use only is a tribute to the family of Mr. Joe Mealy, who owns the vehicle. I did a little kind of a business card advertisement in the little piece of the newspaper that got thrown away, burned up. Over here we have another moonshine bottle, but this is a very special one. This is Doc and Mrs. Mealy's secret blend. Moving over here, we have the final portrait of the folks from Ravenswood, and this is, I might not have mentioned this, but we have special names. This one is Tin Man, the Mixer, and then Wires. And of course, these are just AKAs for the actual people from that body shop. But again, these are very realistic portraits, and the idea is that these wanted posters are on fire and singed. So that wraps it up. So that's the 1955 Chevy Moonshine bootlegging car that I've done for Joe Mealy. I was doing it down here at HQ Auto Paint. HQ Auto Painting and Body is in Pompano Beach, Florida. Dan Norris is the owner, and he's been a good friend of mine for a long time, and he has been most gracious to allow me to take up his space in his shop to do this. And I want to thank him personally, as well as thank Vince Arelli for allowing some of the paint supplies to be given at, of course, usual discount for me. So thank you very much for all of you that have been following the progress on this, and look forward to seeing you in my next project.